Hi everyone, we're here today with Heidi Perera, who's our Associate Director and Principal Occupational Therapist at Lifeworks Occupational Therapy. And Heidi has a particular focus on chronic and complex mental health conditions, particularly PTSD and trauma. So I'm going to ask Heidi a few questions about her role and her area of practice at Lifeworks Occupational Therapy. So welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
Heidi, so can you describe your role at Lifeworks OT and what led you to focus on mental health and in particular trauma?
Yeah, well, my role at the practice has changed quite a lot since I started in 2019, which was initially as a clinician and moving on now to managing a team and taking on the role of associate director, so overseeing the day-to-day management and operations of the practice, but as well as still doing some clinical work. And yeah, particularly, as you mentioned, my area of interest is complex trauma and PTSD. And I've really just worked in mental health care since I graduated as an OT all the way back in 2001. It was just an area that I've always found interesting, and I like getting to know people and their stories. And I think that there's a lot that we can offer as OTs to improve the quality of life for people with mental health difficulties. And yeah, it just always felt like an area of OT that came quite naturally to me. And I guess the longer that I worked in the field, it did become more evident the impact of trauma on people and their day-to-day lives. So that's what really sort of led me to delve into that area a bit more as an OT.
Thanks, Heidi. As a fellow mental health OT, I can completely relate to that. And I didn't actually introduce myself at the beginning, but I should just say my name is Jacinta Bell, and I'm the director and also occupational therapist at Lifeworks Occupational Therapy. So work closely with Heidi. Heidi, can you tell me about what your approach is to care, to treating clients with trauma, and how do you tailor your interventions to their individual needs?
Yeah, so I would actually say that my approach is quite conversational. So I like to take the time to build rapport and develop relationships with people, which I think is really crucial because a lot of the people that I work with haven't had trusting relationships in their lives. So we really take time to sort of build that initially. And I use a variety of different approaches. So I haven't really got one stock standard one that I use. It really just depends on where the person's at and what they are wanting to achieve. So I would say it's very individualised. But I do like to keep my work sort of skills focused. So really focusing on, helping people develop some practical skills to help, improve their function and cope with any symptoms. And I do draw a lot on the sensory approaches and also the mind-body connections, because I am also really interested in the impact of trauma on the body as well.
Very interesting. Sounds great, and very, I wouldn't say exactly eclectic, but you're certainly pulling from lots of different models and theories and interventional approaches, which is really good. It gives you lots of variety and options for your clients. Could you possibly share a success story where your intervention has significantly impacted a client's quality of life?
Yeah, I have had, I guess a couple of success stories over the time, which has been lovely. One that I did want to share was a client that experienced a lot of social anxiety as a result of a lot of her experiences and was really wanting to purchase her own home, but was having a lot of difficulty with that and also having a lot of difficulties negotiating the rental market. So we were able to work together over a period of time to get her some support from the NDIS, or the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And she found a really good support team, and she's now purchased and living in her own home, and very happy and content in that space, and it's really improved a lot of her quality of life.
Oh wow, that sounds great, and very meaningful to have that kind of impact in somebody's life. So tell me now, what can a client expect when they first come to see you, Heidi? What is the process, and how do you support them throughout their journey?
Yeah. So when they first come in, it's a very welcoming and calming environment. I do typically just spend time getting to know them, find out about their typical day, the things they like doing, but also the areas of functioning where they may be having some difficulty. And from there, we kind of come up with a plan and maybe some goals of things that they would like to achieve through the course of our time together. And then along the journey, I would say a big part tends to be sort of problem solving any issues and obstacles as they kind of come up, and sort of using these as a way to sort of encourage them to use the skills that they've been learning in session.
Great. So a real translation of learning things in a clinical setting and translating that into everyday life. Which is very, very helpful. Okay, so tell me now, just in closing, why do you think our practice, Lifeworks Occupational Therapy, is the best choice for people who are dealing with complex and chronic mental health conditions, in particular PTSD and trauma?
Yeah. I think here at Lifeworks we have a really great range of therapists and skills and lots of support and leadership within the team. And I do actually think one of our biggest strengths is our patients and our individualised approach. So, we really take the time to get to know people and their strengths and use these to support them to achieve their goals.
Yeah, great. That's really positive. Thank you, Heidi. So I'd encourage anyone listening, if they'd like to know more, to visit our website at www.lifeworksot.com.au. And thanks very much, Heidi, for joining me today.
Thank you.